Greetings from the swamps, I'm Andy, and today I bring you Cybertron, Skywarp, and Thundercracker. Alright, let's start off with Thundercracker. His tech spec reads, the loyal Decepticon works under the command of Starscream for the recovery of the planet Key on Earth. Thundercracker believes that the most effective way to defeat an enemy is to terrorize and demoralize them before attacking. The mere sound of his focused sonic booms, audible for more than 200 miles, is enough to frighten many other Transformers. The bio is a departure from the Thundercracker I remember from G1. I think it was in Season 1. There was an episode where he and Skyfire are on top of a mountain. Skyfire is trying to blow up the ultimate Decepticon weapon at the time. And Thundercracker decides to not blast them, because he figures, for one, if he does, Starscream would take the credit. And for two, if he doesn't, maybe he could blame Starscream. That doesn't seem too loyal to me. Alright, if we take a look at the toy itself, this is a really good representation of Thundercracker. It's got a really nice face sculpt, it's got great detail, I like the see-through orange cockpit, really, really nice overall. It's got a few drawbacks to the mold design itself, but as aesthetics, this is very pleasing to my eye. Articulation for these guys, the heads can go 360, cannot move up and down. The arm would be able to do a full 360 if it wasn't for the wings. It can go out. It can also swivel at the upper arm. And it can also bend at the elbow. No wrist articulation whatsoever. This one's pretty much the same, except it's got a double joint due to the transformation at the elbow. So if you wanted to, you could pose the cannon kind of funny, but who wants a gimpy cannon? For the legs, they would be able to do a full 360 if it wasn't for the wings. They swivel up here, but there's a little piece right there, the little flap that kind of stops it from going all the way, so if you held it out far enough, you can do it. It also bends at the knee, and if you wanted to pose your figures, you can actually pose the toe and the heel a little bit. As for gimmicks, of course, he has this big cannon. If you take a Cyberplanet key and you plug it into the back, it makes the cannon lift up. Like so. And if you press the button, you can actually fire it. It's got this really nice see-through missile, very simple and plain, but these are the missiles that I really like. Some of the details I was talking about earlier that I really like is this really nice orange light piping. I don't know if you can really see that or not. It's got this really nice orange detail along the wings on the back. I'll get to more of that in the alt mode, but it's kind of Cybertronian mixed in with the fighter jet. The missiles that are attached have this nice little orange tip to it. I really like the blue, the orange, and the gray. It really works for me. Now for the drawbacks, it's mostly due to the transformation of it. I mean, this is pretty much built like the G2 Cyberjets. Graham, you know what I'm talking about, where the arm swivels. So it doesn't actually have a place to plug in, it just kind of sits there. And I mean, it sits there pretty securely. You can shake it around, it's not going to move. But a lot of you might not like the fact that it does that. That's very much like the Scout-sized Cyberjets from G2. This arm's the same way, but it folds back. Also, because of how closely the transformation is to the Cyberjets, it doesn't actually snap on to the wings itself. Right here, the cockpit snaps onto the legs and the body pretty securely, but there's nothing to really hold that part of it to the wings. So you constantly have this going on. Now, like I said, it sits pretty securely. It's not going to flap too bad, but it might bug some of you. I really like his transformation. You know, I'm a big fan of the G2 Cyberjet, so I figured I'd go ahead and show you how to transform it. What you're going to start off by doing is taking the toes and putting them together. Then there's these side panels that open up, and once you have them open, this lifts and turns. You put it back down, close it up, and there you have the thrusters. Do the same on the other side, and you have the thrusters. Then you take this whole section, and you're going to fold it up, like so. Now on the back side, like I said, it's got the swivel part, just like the Cyberjet. So you swivel it around, and then you take, and this comes around, and will snap into place like so. Then you take this other arm, and you're going to fold it in. And there's a little, forgot to do this part. Take the hand, and you fold it down, close it up. There's a little hole on this underside and a peg right there, so you just peg it up and it sits really flush and securely. Now with the legs, all you have to do at this point is you just take and fold this whole section up and they snap into place. And there you have a really nice Cyberjet, or Cybertronian Thundercracker. Alright, here we have him in his alt mode, and that is a beautiful alt mode. If you like planes, this is a very, very nice plane. It's got the landing gear at the bottom, really kibble free all the way around. I mean, it's just very detailed, very nice looking. I'm going to try to get close if you can see those orange highlights all throughout. It's really nice, and the little blue touches in the plane really make it pop. It's got the same gimmick, of course, big ass Decepticon logo on the top. Really like that. But if you put the cyber key in, it lifts up and it fires just the same. And here we have Skywarp. His bio states, the sneakiest of all Decepticons, Skywarp delights in using his teleportation ability to appear in the middle of a group of Autobots, hose them with laser fire, and disappear again. He is the dark heart of the Decepticon Air Corps, taking joy in playing cruel tricks on friend and enemy alike, and using his aerial abilities to avoid a fair fight whenever possible. None too bright, he requires constant supervision by his commander Starscream. That one really does sound like Skywarp to me. Since I've already gone over the mold itself with Thundercracker, I figured I'd focus on Skywarp's color scheme, and it's a really nice one. Everything that was orange on Thundercracker is now red on Skywarp. He's got red light piping, the cockpit is the translucent red, the tips of the missiles are the red. Instead of having the lines on the back of the wings that are in orange, he's actually got red splotches. Very reminiscent of the Cyberjets. I know I keep saying that, but it's very true. These guys are a deluxe version of the Cyberjets. The surprising thing about this Skywarp is there's no black. And anybody who knows Skywarp expects black. This one is all purple, red, and the grays. And here we have Skywarp in his alt mode. And I mean, what an alt mode that is. It's beautiful. You know, it's got the classic purple, kibble free of course. I like the highlights along the wings right there. The red splotches, like I said before. This little detail right here that they put, I mean, it's badass. When you have these two sitting on a shelf next to each other, they just look menacing. They look evil. Really nice. Of course, it's got the same gimmick as Thundercracker, where if you put in the cyber key, the cannon lifts up. And when you shoot it, instead of being orange, it is a see-through red missile. And here they are, side by side. I mean, isn't that a badass pair of troublemakers? This is the same mold they used for the movie Dive Bomb. Check out Fuse review. I'll put a link in the sidebar over there. It's a badass little figure. If you had all three of them, and he's yellow with camouflage, this purple and this gray, that's a trio that you wouldn't want to fuck with. On a side note, if you're picking up Cybertron figures, it's best that if you're getting it off eBay or some other place online, that you check out the numbers on the back to make sure they match up. If you're a completist, you're going to want the cyber key that actually goes with your figure. You can always check it out on TFWiki or tfu.info to make sure the numbers match up, and it's a really good idea to ask the seller to include the numbers in the description before you actually buy it. In closing, I think Skywarp and Thundercracker from the Cybertron line are two you should pick up. If you can get past the G2 transformation, they're really nice figures. The gimmick is worthwhile, and the paint schemes are incredible. And let's face it, you know, we really get these figures to display in the first place. And now for your viewing pleasure, I present Willie Supreme.